You ever play a JRPG thinking it's going to be a chill ride, and suddenly it feels like the game's actively trying to ruin your day? Like, welcome to level 1, but now die. Yeah, we're diving into the top 10 JRPGs that don't care about your feelings, your free time, or your sanity. And if you've survived even one of these, you're built different. Romancing Saga 2 plays by its own rules, and it doesn't care if you're ready or not. You're not just building a party, you're shaping an entire dynasty, one heir at a time, and every decision sticks with you. Screw up a kingdom's economy? Your next emperor is gonna feel it. Miss a key event? Too bad that chance died with your last ruler. It's a strategy RPG disguised as a generational epic, where short-term wins can lead to long-term disasters. What really makes it brutal is how it teaches combat. You don't unlock skills by leveling up. Instead, your characters spark new techniques randomly mid-fight, based on a mix of weapon types, formations, and dumb luck. Sometimes you learn a killer move right when you need it. Other times, you're stuck swinging basic attacks and hoping for a miracle. And since you're constantly cycling through new leaders, figuring out which techniques carry over becomes a game in itself, one the tutorial never explains. Another layer that makes everything even more chaotic is how formations actually change the way your entire party functions. It's not just a buff or a fancy pose. Your frontliners take more hits, backline attackers get damage bonuses, and some stances can completely shift who gains techs faster. And since every character class behaves differently depending on where they're placed, the game subtly pushes you to experiment constantly. Then there's the hidden difficulty curve. Romancing Saga 2 quietly ramps up enemy strength the more you fight. Grinding? That's a trap. Every battle you win pushes the global power level forward, and if you're not keeping up through smarter formations or better tech, you'll eventually run face-first into bosses that feel completely unfair.
Leave this to me. Prepare to attack.
Let's end it!
Some games want you to grind your way to victory, but Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter wants you to die. A lot. This game throws you into a dark, suffocating world where every decision feels like it's one step away from disaster. Set in an underground society where sunlight is just a myth and survival is based on status, the story follows Ryu and Nina as they struggle to escape a system designed to break them. And make no mistake, it's designed to break you too. Instead of traditional leveling, the game leans into failure. Dying and restarting is part of the design. With each run, you get to keep your gear and skills but lose your progress. It's called the Scenario Overlay System, and it's basically a hard reset disguised as progression. And if that wasn't punishing enough, there's the D ratio. This number decides how much of the game you're even allowed to access. To increase it, you need to beat the game, then do it again and again. Dragon Quarter blends real-time movement with turn-based tactics during fights. You can actually reposition your characters on the battlefield before attacking, letting you flank enemies, dodge danger, or set up devastating combos. But every step burns precious AP, and if you overspend, your character just stands there. On top of that, the dragon transformation mechanic is as powerful as it is terrifying. You can unleash Ryu's dragon form to obliterate enemies, but every use pushes your D counter closer to 100%. And when it hits 100, it's game over. It's a constant gamble. Use it too early and risk dying later, or hold back and pray you survive long enough to need it.
Luca. Here I am, Madam Junior.
Labyrinth of Refrain looks like a quirky dungeon crawler at first glance, but that's just a setup. Behind the playful art and goofy writing is one of the most punishing turn-based RPGs out there. The game throws you into deep, maze-like dungeons where danger waits around every corner. Traps hit hard, enemies stack status effects like they're building a resume, and ambushes come out of nowhere. There's no warning, No mercy, just pain. Instead of a classic party system, you control puppet soldiers built inside enchanted coffins called covens. Each coven holds multiple units, but they come with their own set of rules that affect how your team fights, where they can be placed, and what kind of support skills they bring. You have to build these squads from scratch, assigning classes, upgrading body parts, customizing roles, and finding that perfect balance between offense and survival. It's a deep, brutal system where one bad build can cost you the entire run. What makes it worse is the permadeath. If one of your puppets goes down and you're out of rare revival items, that unit is gone for good. That means everything you put into them, like gear, upgrades, stat boosts, it all dies with them. And some of these dungeons are absolutely merciless. One wrong turn can trigger a puzzle trap that wipes your entire squad before you even realize what happened. Then there's the reinforcement mechanic. It sounds simple, like use points to interact with the dungeon environment. But those points run out fast, and without them, you lose access to essential tools like scouting, healing, and emergency escapes. Deep into a multi-layered dungeon, running out of reinforcement points is like getting stranded in a burning building with no exits.
こんなんでもないよりマシか。強気ですよ。ほれ！えい！
Once you step into Nocturne's version of Tokyo, it doesn't waste time pretending it's your friend. The world's gone to hell, literally, and the game throws you right in the middle of it with no training wheels. Every encounter is a lesson in survival, and if you don't pay attention, you'll be loading your last save more than actually playing. The combat is brutal and completely unforgiving. It runs on the press turn system, where landing a weakness or a critical hit gives you extra actions. Sounds great, until you miss or hit an enemy's resistance, and the game punishes you by cutting your entire turn short. And yes, enemies follow those same rules. So, if you mess up, they'll take full advantage and wipe your party before you even know what happened. To make it through, you need to master Demon Fusion. You're constantly recruiting and combining demons to create stronger allies, but it's not as simple as throwing two together. Each demon comes with its own traits, and if you don't plan carefully, you'll end up with something flashy, but useless. Skill inheritance is a whole puzzle by itself, and since it changes depending on who you fuse, what order you pick, and how lucky you are, no two players have the same experience. It's deep, constantly evolving, and absolutely necessary if you want to survive past the halfway mark. But the real curveball is the Magatama system. These creepy living parasites act as your progression path, letting you learn new abilities and tweak your resistances. Some will boost your stats or give you powerful spells, but others come with major risks, like random status effects during level-ups or weaknesses that perfectly line up with whatever the next boss loves to spam. Choosing the wrong Magatama at the wrong time can ruin a fight before it even starts. And since a few of the best ones are locked behind punishing quests or alignment decisions, the game forces you to commit hard and live with the consequences. Quick pause. If you're still watching, hit that like button real quick. It's easy, it's free, and it makes the algorithm stop glaring at me. Now tell me in the comments, what's the one JRPG moment that almost made you rage quit for good? I want the horror stories. Your comments seriously help push this video out to more people and keep the channel growing with new stuff like this. Plus, I actually check and reply to all of them. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it's way less painful than anything on this list. If you're used to JRPGs holding your hand, Etria and Odyssey will slap it away and toss you into a dungeon with nothing but a pencil and a prayer. There's no cinematic intro, no epic tutorial, just a cold good luck as you build a party from scratch and step into a maze designed to crush your confidence. Every class choice, every stat boost, and every formation decision matters, because one wrong setup can get your team wrecked before you even find the first treasure chest. Mapping the labyrinth is entirely your job. No autofill, no mini-map cheats, you're drawing walls, noting traps, and marking secret doors like you're preparing for a heist, all while praying you don't take one step too far into a monster's territory. And these aren't your average RPG enemies. Mid-bosses roam the floors like apex predators, ready to ambush you the moment you zig when you should have zagged. Later on, things get even more complicated. You unlock subclassing, which lets characters pick up secondary roles that completely shift how they operate. Suddenly, you're turning a backline support into a hybrid damage dealer, or fusing defensive and offensive skill sets to survive longer. It's smart, but also risky, because you have limited skill points and no easy way to reset. Make a mistake and you're stuck with it, unless you're willing to sacrifice levels and grind back up. And managing items becomes its own kind of game. Healing is rare, revives are precious, and if you forget warp wires, enjoy hiking back through a death maze with a crippled team and zero margin for error. Etrian Odyssey doesn't reward brute force or luck. It rewards patience, preparation, and a healthy fear of frogs that might one-shot your party just because you forgot to pack the right gear. From the first encounter, Natural Doctrine feels less like a tutorial and more like a brutal exam you didn't study for. You're immediately tossed into a grid-based war zone where one bad move is a chain reaction that can unravel your entire plan in seconds. The line of sight mechanic is unforgiving, forcing you to think in angles and blind spots, because if your unit can't see the enemy, they may as well not exist. At the heart of the chaos is the link turn system. Instead of each unit taking their turn one by one, every character, ally, and enemy is locked into a shared timeline. That means if you're not quick to act, the enemy will chain together a brutal assault before you can even react. But time it right, and you can pull off devastating combos across the entire map. It's a constant tug of war where timing and positioning are everything, and even terrain plays a role. Walls can break, units can attack from behind cover, and overlapping attack zones make staying alive feel like solving a live-action death puzzle. But the real kicker? Permadeath is the rule. If one key unit falls, it's game over. Revives are limited, items are rare, and the enemies know exactly who to target, like your healers and support characters. Every battle feels like a high-stakes gamble where one wrong decision means starting all over again. Natural Doctrine isn't just challenging, it's punishing in a way that only the most hardcore strategy fans will appreciate. And even then, they'll probably cry a little.
Time to finish this! Yeah! Final strike!
I'll have to tell my sister about this!
Okay.
Total victory!
At first glance, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 might look like your typical high fantasy JRPGs, full of beautiful landscapes and dramatic dialogue. But don't let the dreamy visuals fool you. These games hide one of the most complex and chaotic card-based combat systems ever slapped onto a JRPG. You're not just picking actions like in most turn-based games. Here, you're managing full-on decks, one for each character, packed with weapons, spells, healing items, and utility cards. And since each character has their own unique deck, you can't just rely on a shared pool to bail you out when things get messy. The entire flow of combat revolves around what you draw, how you play it, and whether you can chain together the right combos under pressure. Cards come with numbers, elements, and types, and if you manage to line them up in a specific order, you trigger powerful effects. But there's no pause. Everything happens in real time, and hesitation means missing your shot. And it's not just offense you have to worry about. When enemies attack, you can defend using your own deck, but only if you've drawn the right cards and react fast enough. The problem? Those defensive cards are mixed into your regular deck, which means you're constantly walking a tightrope between being fully prepared and totally exposed. Then there's the aging system, and cards don't last forever. Food rots, drinks go bad, and even some healing items become dangerous if left unused. It's a bizarre twist that turns your deck into a living inventory that demands constant attention. Planning around expiration dates becomes part of the strategy, and it forces you to think multiple turns ahead, not just about what you need now, but what might still be useful later. It's stressful, it's brutal, and for the right kind of player, it's pure magic. The Nintendo DS version of Final Fantasy IV is not here to give you nostalgia, it's here to beat you down and smile while doing it. This isn't just a facelift with 3D models and voice acting. The whole game got reworked, and what used to be a manageable challenge has been dialed up to full-blown survival mode. Enemies are faster, smarter, and relentless. They don't waste time, they go straight for your most fragile party members and don't stop until they're dust. Bosses don't just hit harder, they counter your tactics, flip strategies on their head, and force you to adapt or get wrecked. What really changes everything is the augment system. It gives you the power to transfer skills between characters, letting you customize roles in really creative ways. But there's a catch, and a brutal one. Once you assign an augment, that's it. No swapping, no refunds. If you give a powerful skill to someone who permanently leaves your party, it's gone. So unless you've studied a guide or memorized who stays and who vanishes, you're probably going to sabotage your own playthrough without realizing it. Some augments can be stacked in ways that completely shatter the difficulty if used right, but that same stacking can backfire if you don't know what you're doing. And the game doesn't stop there. It throws in a dungeon mapping mechanic that quietly punishes anyone rushing through. If you don't fully explore each floor, every tile, every corner, you miss out on rare loot that could seriously help against the next boss. Between the constant pressure, missable power-ups, and enemies that never seem to calm down, this version of Final Fantasy IV feels less like a remake and more like a test of endurance. Strange Journey drops you into a frozen hellscape near Antarctica and doesn't even pretend to play nice. From the jump, you're navigating pitch-black dungeons stuffed with traps, dead ends, and demons that seem genetically programmed to exploit your every weakness. It's tense, it's oppressive, and every step forward feels like you're poking a sleeping bear with a short stick. But what really makes this game hit different is how it ties your moral choices directly into the mechanics. Everything you do nudges you toward law, chaos, or neutral. And that alignment isn't just cosmetic. It controls which demons will talk to you, who you confuse, and even what kind of ending you'll get. The demon co-op system adds another layer of pain. If your team shares an alignment and you hit an enemy's weak spot, they'll follow up with extra hits. It sounds powerful until you realize how insanely hard it is to build a team that's both effective in combat and aligned just right. Fusion is your main tool, but the system is cryptic, the outcomes are inconsistent, and one bad decision can leave you with a flashy demon that folds like paper the moment things get serious. Some demons won't even join unless you survive their negotiation minigames mid-fight, which often feels more like a gamble than a strategy. And just to keep you sweating, the game limits your demon capacity based purely on your main character's level. Not your progress, not your strategy, just raw stats. That means even if you're skilled enough to handle stronger demons, you can't use them until you grind out the levels. Managing resources, reading enemy patterns, and building the right team takes serious patience. But if you're into tough-as-nails dungeon crawlers with real consequences, Strange Journey is brutal in all the right ways. The seventh saga doesn't just challenge you, it actively bullies you. From the moment the game starts, there's no warm-up, no friendly tutorial, just a brutal world that barely pretends to like you. You pick your hero and get tossed into a lonely, cryptic overworld where every step feels like a bad idea. The pacing is relentless. Towns are miles apart, dungeons feel like traps, and every random encounter can send you back to the title screen if you're not overly prepared. Even if you grind like your life depends on it, your gear rarely keeps up with the enemies, and bosses hit like they know you personally. What really makes the game borderline sadistic is the way it handles its cast of rival heroes. The 6 characters you don't pick, they're still out there, grinding levels, collecting runes, and getting juiced up stats behind your back. And when you eventually cross paths with them, they don't just want to talk, they want to fight, and they're almost always stronger than you. Each rune you're chasing is supposed to give your character a major boost, like more strength, better magic, unique abilities, but getting them feels like trying to steal candy from a bear. These relics are scattered across the world, locked behind brutal boss fights or buried deep in confusing dungeons, and half the time one of your overpowered rivals has already found it first. And if they beat you to it, too bad, it's theirs, and you better believe they'll use it against you in battle. The system is rigged from the start. Add a battle system that punishes every small mistake, and you've got a game where surviving a single hour feels like a badge of honor. It's not just a hard game, it's a test of how much suffering you're willing to endure for the sake of one victory screen. And hey, if this video's already stressing you out, don't worry. I've got a chill one lined up with 5 incredible remasters and remakes that won't make you question your sanity. They're budget-friendly, way more forgiving, and honestly, just plain fun. Go check it out next. You'll thank me later.